What's up everyone? In this video we're going to talk about whether or not Bitcoin is going to start pumping or if it's going to start dumping, because obviously the last week has been quite boring in terms of crypto price action just because nothing much has been happening, just like how I predicted in the video that I made before. And I basically taught you guys that the market always moves from periods of high volatility to low volatility. Every time you have a really aggressive movement, well, guess what? The next couple of weeks are probably going to just range around. And this is exactly what we've been seeing on Bitcoin after the V recovery. And not only Bitcoin, but we have seen this across altcoins as well. And so the question remains, is crypto going to start pumping, or are we really in a bear market and that, Bitcoin's going to go back to 40K and, everything's going to go to zero? Just to answer the first question, we are not about to go back into a bear market. August and September, or generally Q2 to Q3 in general, for most years in crypto tend to be pretty underwhelming in terms of crypto gains. In fact, most years for the last 14 years has actually seen the market go into some kind of red during these couple months. And so whatever we're seeing right now is nothing out of the ordinary. But the good news is that October generally tends to be one of the best months of the year, and that is about a month and a half away. And given the fact that based on what everything's playing out so far, it wouldn't be surprising that the bottom of this quote-unquote bull market retracement would be sometime during August, and then everything else after that in October, the market is just going to go absolutely parabolic. Let's take a look at market structure for a moment. Over here you have high, that's a low, and then you first have a low high, lower low, lower high, lower low. All in all, this is pretty bearish in terms of market structure. But take a look at this. You have just swept the range low. If I draw this line like this, you can see that, this is range low, this is range high. And for those of you who are, new to crypto or new to trading in general, whenever you take out, a range low or a range high, you tend to have a really good tendency to go to the opposite side of the range, just like what happened over here. You have a range high, you take out range high, boom, you go to the range low, just like this. And this was what kickstarted Bitcoin's pump from basically 25K all the way up to a new all-time high. And for those of you who were around at the time, right, check it out, right? The bottom came in September of 2023, and then in October, boom, absolutely explodes. And for those of you who were around at the time, you would have remembered altcoins pretty much went up by 20x from this point onwards. Well, some altcoins, some meme coins went up by 50x, but for the most part, right, most alts went up by a factor of 4 to 5x. I believe we're about to see something similar here. And this is not a coincidence. Based on what everything's happening here, check it out, from April to September, it was the retracement period. Pretty much from March to August currently is the retracement period, right? This is not a coincidence. Is the bottom in? Well, I'm pretty sure it is, but even if it's not, the risk to reward for taking longs or buying here is just generally really good. You're buying anywhere here, your stop loss is going to be somewhere here, and your target is easily going to be a new all-time high. You're either targeting 85K, you're either targeting 100K, but either way, even if we just draw a fib extension at a negative 0.5 fib extension, puts you at pretty much 85K, negative 1 range expansion puts you close to 100. And even if you were to take a horrendous trade, right, something like this, where your stop loss is super wide, even at a new all-time high, right? It's a 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1. Chances are you're going to do way better than a 3R trade. Very low downside, but potentially very high upside. And that's the type of trades that, we've been waiting for since basically September of last year, because everything has just been pumping straight out. Remember, pretty much if you were in the markets at any point, there was no retracement whatsoever, very short-lived for basically half a year, right? From September all the way until March. For the past half year, went through a retracement period. Guess what the next half year is going to be, right? It doesn't take a genius to understand this. Now, just to zoom into the lower time frames, you can see that if you draw a fib here from this low to this high, you can see that the price has recently retraced into a discount zone, which means that it was a really good place to buy Bitcoin. And it was the exact same zone that I told you in the previous video that I made on Bitcoin. If you have bought some Bitcoin here, or if you've bought any altcoins timing it with the Bitcoin bounce, then boom, congratulations. Now, do I think the retracement's over? Well, my ideal area is still going to be around 54K, although it would not be a bad price to buy here, right? So that is still scenario number one. That has not yet changed. We're waiting for a retracement to basically time our bottom entries on all coins and everything, and boom. So that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is also exactly the same. Over here, you are currently getting a lower high, right? Or at least right now, based on the market structure on the daily chart, this is still considered a lower high. This retracement play here would basically be betting that the market's going to form a higher low here before breaking this low high and basically forming the first high. The second scenario, and arguably the safer play, is to wait for the market to break above this high and then just buy the retest of that high, right? This is something that people call a support resistance flip, but it doesn't matter what it's called. What matters is that this confirms a trend change. And so this would be scenario number 2, arguably the safer option and also the higher probability option. And then of course the targets are still going to be a new all-time high. Feel free to time your altcoin trades just alongside this. For example, if we take a look at Solana, you are getting a pretty similar setup where low to high, price recently tapped into the discount zone, although not pumping as much as Bitcoin. Boom, if you break above that, that is your first higher high and then potentially higher low. Either way, right, you're gonna just continue pumping. Just feel free to apply it to any altcoin that has a similar structure. Now that Bitcoin's done, let's take a look at Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is also in a very, very similar case where you had a range for a very long period of time, you take out the range low, and then boom, you go back to the range high. The problem is that you didn't quite recover the range high, and so you formed a lower high. And then ever since then, you have formed a lower low. This is like temporarily, right? In the short term, this is a lower high. It's in the process of forming. But we can reasonably expect the price to form some kind of a higher low around this area before the price starts pumping. And the reason for that is because, well, take a look at all of these relatively equal lows over here that just got taken, right? Historically, this is, well, quote unquote, strong support. Now, historically, this has been a level that price has always found some kind of, reaction at. Over here, you have a low, high forms there, and then you have, a lot of highs and a lot of lows. So essentially, this is a really strong, well, quote unquote, support level. And price has recently just taken out a lot of the liquidity around this area and essentially just taken out some kind of higher time frame key level. This is a really good sign. And for those of you who are watching the videos from before, you would have known that I perfectly caught the bottom on this one. And so congratulations, if you bought that, you'll be up about 25% right now. Just like in the previous video, right? Scenario number 1 remains unchanged. I'm still looking for somewhere around 2350 to be the ideal level where I want to, buy Ethereum at a retracement level. But second scenario, exactly the same as Bitcoin. Boom, 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 right? Something like this would be absolutely amazing. Now, short-term targets for Ethereum would be somewhere around 3,500, and then the previous, essentially the previous all-time high. And then after that, you're just going to absolutely take off. Just don't forget that on Ethereum right now, you have an Ethereum ETF, and so like things are looking good, right? Fundamentally speaking, with the fact that August and September are about to be over, and Pumptober is about to come back, key levels taken out, massive retracement from the top, pretty much almost 50%, which is not unheard of in Ethereum. Actually, is pretty common throughout the course of a bull market, guys. Just whatever sentiment you might have towards the markets right now, and whatever sentiment that you might see on crypto Twitter or just YouTube in general, not buy into the bearish lies. These people probably mean no harm to you, but they're sorely mistaken if they think that we're in a bear market. The times are just about to get good. One thing you need to understand about the market is that it's cyclical. You have quarters of pump and you have quarters of dump. Similarly, you have half a year where you are dumping or retracing. You have half a year where things are really green. This is just the way markets work. Things don't go up all the time, things don't go down all the time. But if you learn how to use these cycles to your advantage, this is how you can rake in the big cash. Anyways, if you would like to get my exact trade ideas and follow alongside trades that not only me, but my team is taking, feel free to click the first link in the description box below. We are opening the alpha group for a very short time, which is this week. All you have to do is reply alpha, the first email that you get, and we'll set you up. But anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.